The NAACP says this travel advisory is a direct response to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and what the NAACP describes as the governor's aggressive attempts to not only erase Black history, but to also restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in Florida schools.
The NAACP is one of America's most storied racial justice organizations. Now they're declaring a travel advisory in Florida, warning Black and LGBT travelers that Ron DeSantis is openly hostile to their existence. And that's not all. The NAACP's Florida Travel Advisory now joins a grim list, alongside the Montgomery Improvement Association's 1955 bus boycott and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference's 1960s boycotts of Georgia. And just like with those boycotts, conservatives had their talking points ready.
Well, you know, I think the NAACP is one of the most venerated and respected civil rights organizations, certainly that have been around in my long lifetime. You know, they fought the good fight for civil rights. But this is not about that. This is a travel advisory. This is a warning to tourists to stay out of Florida. And I think in that regard, it really is a fear-mongering publicity stunt. And I find it very much to be in bad taste.
Geraldo offers us a glimpse into the tortured logic of a Republican pundit. In Geraldo's world, Ron DeSantis isn't wrong for telling African American studies majors to get their degrees in some other state. It's the Floridians who are wrong for getting mad. Geraldo doesn't believe there's any legitimate reason for Black Americans to be worried about a Florida governor who talks about Black history and American history as irreconcilably different. Most of all, Geraldo thinks it's in bad taste to make such a show out of racial tension. And Geraldo would know. Here he is back in 1988, platforming white nationalists for fun and profit. And as you can see, it's a real classy affair.
Tired of seeing Uncle Tom here sucking up trying to be a white...
Go ahead, Roy, go ahead. No, let me tell you. You gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. Hey, hold it. Hold it.
Sit down.
But hey, God forbid the NAACP warn gay people that their existence is essentially criminalized in Florida. That's just too much of a circus for old Geraldo. But not every Fox News ghoul was so thrilled by Ron DeSantis' continued war on woke.
It's all about attacking a company in his state named Disney. He's already won the issue that up to the third grade, you start talking about sex and gender, and he won't let up. Conservative free market people don't attack businesses, and they do promote jobs and business. He hasn't done that. That's right. My sermon's over.
For once, Larry Kudlow is actually approaching the vicinity of correctness. Republicans are furious at DeSantis because his war with Disney just cost the state 2,000 high-tech jobs, and Republican pollsters are telling the GOP that voters are taking notice. Ron DeSantis' war with Disney has cost his state billions, and taxpayers are once again footing the bill. While that may play well with the ultra-MAGAs in the Sunshine State, other Republicans aren't convinced.
It's clearly, you know, everything about Florida that you love, DeSantis inherited the no state tax, all that stuff. He's done a great job of running it, but most of that was inherited. You watch DeSantis turn Disney into World War III. Imagine what he would do with Putin. This guy has got problems. He'd be great in 2028. Wait till then.
I don't understand the Putin reference. Could you just walk me through that briefly?
Now, a lot of TV hosts try to be the smartest person in the room. It's refreshing to see that Larry Kudlow isn't afraid to be the dumbest person in the room. And Cud's buds weren't done taking the torch to Meatball Ron.
You're in a fight with Disney. You just blow it up so that they're pulling a center out of the state. You make a disaster out of it. You got to negotiate nicely, get it done. So imagine what he would do with Putin. Who knows what he would turn that into?
And I think Mark's making a substantive point there, too, that part of his rollout that was so poor from DeSantis was being on both sides of the Ukraine issue. Trump's been very clear about it. It didn't happen under my watch, and it wouldn't have happened and I don't want to start foreign wars. DeSantis kind of tiptoed on the establishment route and then went another direction, and people said, we don't know who we've got here.
With DeSantis prepared to announce his presidential run on Wednesday evening, it looks like Republicans are finally paying attention, and they don't like what they see. If Ron DeSantis can't sell his agenda to Fox News, he's about to face a real problem in Iowa. Ron DeSantis is walking a path that's rapidly narrowing. Simply put, Republicans who may have been skeptical about Donald Trump have returned to their MAGA base. And those Republicans really hate Ron DeSantis for his perceived disloyalty to the King of Mar-a-Lago. That's not a winning strategy. But DeSantis only knows one trick, and his war on wokeness is getting stale even with voters who like him. In the meantime, his anti-diversity laws are turning Florida into a war zone for human rights. There are no quiet parts anymore. If that got you fired up, check out these anti-gay Karens who spent their afternoon heckling low-paid Target employees. And as always, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below, so you can let me know what I should cover next.